Hi, this is Mick Rizzo. First and foremost, let me wish you a truly blessed Thanksgiving. Even what's going on nationally, internationally, and here locally in the zoo that we call the Winds condominiums. We got so much to be thankful for. And I don't want to lose sight of that fact. And I want to share that kind of happiness with you. So please have a blessed Thanksgiving. I do this video because I've been getting inundated with questions and comments before and since the October 30th Winds Board meeting. And it just keeps getting better. You probably haven't heard this part yet. Here's what we do know. Sarah and Matt have resigned from the board, and our committee has received copies of that resignation letter from each one of them. Craig, the newest board member, had verbally announced that he too had resigned. Hadn't seen any correspondence on that until this morning. And then I get a response to email I had sent to Clarice on the 8th. I write, Dear Clarice, your correspondence to the ad hoc committee's November 8th letter she responded to me on the 11th, stated that the board is in the process of preparing a second communication to the membership. It'll likely come out this week. To which I responded, I hadn't seen anything. Did I miss a response? Is the board meeting scheduled for November the 25th? Is that still on? If so, where will it be held? We saw the resignation letters, had a verbal announcement from Craig, that kind of stuff. Will you give us an update? This morning, this is classic. In response to that from the 11th. Good morning, Mick. A notice was mailed out on Tuesday for a special meeting on December 11th. The board meeting for November the 25th was changed, already held, due to the resignation of the 3 board members. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Did I miss it, or did somebody else know that the special meeting was held? We're kind of baffled, dumbfounded by that. So once again, my humorous anecdote that things just keep getting better. So I wanted to kind of bring you up to speed on where I'm at and what's going on. The one goal to me is to make a transition as smooth as possible. I think that what we witnessed when we spoke with one voice and kept the dialogue at the board meeting non-confrontational is the way to go. I mean, people hopping up and down and showing their disgust just kind of lends into nothing happening. And I know that people realize that any procedure of this magnitude is going to be a slow, tedious process. From what I've gathered, and once again, this is my own research. I'm not a lawyer, nor do I play one on television. But as I understand it, it takes 51% of the co-owners to administer major changes, recalling board members, amending the bylaws. With 206 units, that equates to 105.06, or really 106 co-owners to join in the petitioning. I, of course, urge for more than 106 to see as many as we can get, should there be any discrepancies. I need to note, and people probably already realize, but if you don't, only owners can participate. Renters are not counted. Landlords would be if they cared to join us. To recall each board member, it has to be noted that in this case, we have 2 board members left, since 3 have already resigned. That means that for every board member, there has to be a petition. So in this case, we'd have to have 2 petitions. As we understand it, also based on the bylaws, board members are then given 30 days to respond to the petition. So now we're 3 weeks past the last board meeting, not counting the one that we weren't invited to, and we only received a response from BLS today, which says at the Monday meeting, hey, I know we're not giving you much notice, but the board meeting in 3 days is not going to happen. So that would make initially our December board meeting, usually the fourth Thursday of each month, December 26th. And so we were going to attempt to target the 23rd, but now it's December 11th. One more time, December 11th. We don't know where, we don't know what time. More to follow. Personally, here's what I think. I think we need more co-owner community involvement. Matt Cottenham, co-chair with me, has demonstrated building and construction expertise that I feel would represent all the co-owners. I'd go to bat with him, and I would feel like he was looking out for me as much as he would be looking out for himself. Jennifer Gallen has demonstrated superb organizational skills and would be a major asset to our board, in addition to the fact that she has a lifetime track record here. Her grandfather was an original co-owner, as I understand it. So she has a boatload of experience and has seen the evolution of the Winds. Claudia is also on the board and has a lot of experience and track record here also. As an old guy, I never thought I'd want to sit on a board and devote that kind of time to doing it. But been processing it with my wife for several weeks, and after several asks, here's what I'm willing to do. If we get a consensus, and this is just one option, I'd be honored to serve a year on the board as the chair with the following goals. We make a group determination of whether BLS represents our community interest. If the COA or the Co-Owners Association doesn't feel that, we begin vetting other local management services. I would suggest that we expand the board to 7 people and target co-owners with expertise in accounting and bookkeeping, first and foremost, for a treasurer. Legal clerical background, obviously we're going to be neck deep in the big muddy on that until we get this cleared up. Corporate background for some people, contractual insight, having worked with major organizations, and somebody with HR community relations background to be able to interact with co-owners. Our first priority, I think, is review what went into the assessment that had just been thrown at us, particularly the budgeting process, and see what resources the board and BLS used to discern the fact that they wanted to remove all the aluminum siding and the process with the roofs. Let's see where the priorities are. I do remember a list or an itinerary that included when the roofs would be pulled off, etc. I don't think we have anything particularly, and if I'm wrong, let's see it, on what they were suggesting as far as the vinyl goes. I mean, as far as, replacing the aluminum with vinyl. My suggestion there still, and I think the consensus is, that we look at caulk and paint as a stopgap. I'd ask you to personally email me versus shotgunning a group reply, only because I don't want to blow up people's email any more than it already has been. Once again, we're going to target December the 11th. I think what we need to do is take the original project information board meeting list which is 18 pages long, that listed every owner, their address locally, and then asked for a signature. For us, and if there's somebody adept at any graphics, Excel, spreadsheets, whatever, that we could duplicate this without BLS's projection, informational meeting dated kind of stuff, and had access, I think what we're going to need is at least, I'm thinking a half dozen, 10 people that would be willing to go, particularly in their unit. Start right there. People that you know, people that you hang with, that are owners, co-owners, and let's get them on, on one of the sign-up sheets. That would actually, 2 of the sign-up sheets that would serve as recalling the final 2 board members so that we can start with a clean slate. At the same time, would ask that we continue to speak at one voice. And if it's not me, I am no problem with that. If you can think of somebody else that can present it, more than happy. I am happy to keep going and speaking with one voice because I think that's how we'll get things done. And I just ask you, if you feel called to serve and to help, and you have any of the talents that we broke out here, or any talents that you think you could bring to the table that would help us in accomplishing the goal of revising the board. One of the other things was to reestablish or make adjustments to the bylaws when the bylaws in 2016 slid in the $4,000 budget without consulting co-owners. I think we need to adjust that. And I think maybe at some point in time, quickly, while we're doing that, is to take a look at all the bylaws and get some help coaching on that. At the same time, I think since the current law firm represents, and I don't know if you heard this story or not, but this is another classic. I had spent a couple Fridays talking to 4 attorneys, my personal attorney, 2 people he has suggested, and the actual attorney that represents our co-owners association. And I got that gentleman, Jeffrey Vollmer, on the phone, and cordial guy, real nice guy. And I said, Mr. Vollmer, here's the situation. We called the board, the assessment, the yada yada, blah 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 blah. And he said, well, Mick, I really can't help you. Really? Yeah, we represent the corporate interests of the co-owners association, and we answer to the board. And I go, well, what does that mean? Aren't we the board? We as co-owners? And he said, well, Mick, classic analogy, Mick, imagine that we're General Motors, meaning the board and the is what I took it to mean, the board and the legal association that represents them. And I go, so does that make us the UAW? And he got a chuckle. So anyway, one of the other elements in this long list of ramblings that I'm presenting to you would be for us to look at representation that would help us even have the right questions, not the answers, and be able to budget that in our monthly fees. So that's the long and the short of it, the very, very shortest version of it. I'm asking you once again to consider whether you're being called and you can help, and what asset you bring and what you can do to help us. And at the same time, even if it was just a matter of making a commitment to getting 6 or 8 fellow co-owners signed off so that we can move forward. That's my hope. That's my prayer.